Hello, everyone, and welcome to the X Button Podcast, Season 5, Episode 22. The X Button. This is the X Button Podcast, Escape Gaming's podcast that posts every Friday from 10 a.m. onwards, God willing. Available in the YouTube channel Escape Gaming, as well as most audio services around the world, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and the like. You can find links and the RSS feed at tinyurl.com/xcapegaming. If you enjoy our show, give us a like and a subscribe. Everyone, here's my co-host for the day. You'll notice not Mr. Alejandro, but a Mr. Rick Davis. How you doing, Rick?
How we doing? Well, I've
Happy
been better.
Switch 2 launch day!
It is Switch 2 launch day, and fortunately, I got mine without any staple puncture
Oh
wounds,
boy.
so that's good. But how are you doing, Joe?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. Everyone, for the audience, Alex is on site is the phrase. What on the beat? I don't know what you call it. He's reporting from Summer Game Fest. He'll be back hopefully to join us next week for an episode to report in if he's available. Otherwise, we'll hear all about what his trip was like during his return. He'll be out of his country visiting the grand old United States for a solid 3 weeks. I think he's gone. So we'll get him in here when possible. But otherwise, yeah, I'm doing all right. I've got my Switch 2. It is sitting right under the octopus over there. Keep it nice and safe. I have not done anything with it really besides log into my account. Did you transfer your Switch over? Did you do the transfer?
I did. I actually wasn't going to, but I was like, you know what? What the heck? I'll give it a shot. And to be honest with you,
Yeah.
it was the right call because it took all of I think 6 minutes.
Okay. I did not transfer anything over because this is going to be mine engine Switch, and it wouldn't feel fair to like transfer one of ours over the others because she's got her stuff on hers, I've got mine on mine.
I believe it transfers everything, and the only time that it seems like it removes it when it transfers it is there are the occasional games that they make it so you can't back them up on the cloud saves
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Like the
Uh-huh.
Pokemon games, largely I think have that happen.
Uh-huh.
I had one game that happened with. I think it was Damon X Machina,
Okay.
but everything else it copied as opposed to moved. So
Okay, interesting. Yeah, we just decided not to bother with it. I also don't really have a ton on my original Switch. Like I've got my completed Arceus save, I've got my completed Three Houses. Like I've got completed save games on there. I wasn't in the middle of anything. But what I did notice was I was not able to download any of my games onto Switch 2 yet. It says that I need to update my Switch 1 and activate that virtual game card system that they have, because otherwise it was not letting me download. I could not find the games available for download anywhere.
that,
So I
that,
might I might need to
I,
activate that.
I may have lucked out and totally missed that since I did the transfer.
Hmm.
'Cause I guarantee you
Which
otherwise,
is
I'd have a lot that I would probably have to have done that with. And just ahead of time, I'm going to apologize. I'm going to be coughing a lot. I've been kind of under the weather, and my cough is coming in pretty hard. So
Yes, well, Rick, thank you so much for guest hosting this with me. I really appreciate you being here through the sickness and through all of the, quite frankly, craziness that you've had to deal with. Our other regular co-host Paul is also under the weather. I don't think Alex is under the weather, but who knows? Maybe the weather was different
yeah,
in California, and maybe he's sick too. We don't really know. But that said, everybody, welcome to the X Button podcast. This is our podcast that is every week. We are gonna make it every week this year. I made Alex promise that we'd make it every week when I joined on as co-host. So even when he's not here, we're still gonna be getting episodes out there. Let's jump right into it though. Rick, tell me, what have you been playing? You have started your Switch 2 more than I have. I know that. So tell me about it.
well, I haven't played very much. I mostly I played essentially three things. Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom. I wanted to see how they were. Like Tears of the Kingdom, I just kind of resumed my existing save and messed around a little bit. And Breath of the Wild, I did. So actually, backtracking a little bit here, I did actually for the Switch 2 finally upgrade my Nintendo Online membership to be the expansion pass. I was not going to
Ooh.
do it, but when they had a GameCube, I'm like, all right, now for GameCube, I will do it. There was nothing, there was nothing in the regular. Like, I mean, I'm a big Sega dude, but the Sega stuff that I want is all in collections elsewhere.
Hmm.
So,
Or
so that
was it?
one
Because
did.
they've been canceling those collections lately, right? Aren't they taking all those collections down? The Sega different
Well,
collections?
well,
I
if you
mean,
have
you're
them,
good because you own them,
yeah,
but I
yeah,
mean,
yeah. If you
aren't they
have them, yeah.
delisting them?
I don't think so. Like the biggest one is I have it on Steam. It's is it the Sega Ultimate Collection or whatever?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
there is a version of it on the consoles, but actually the PC version has like way more games to it.
Hmm.
Um, but anyway, so because of that, I did upgrade it. And also I was like, you know what? I want the Switch 2 versions of at very least Tears of the Kingdom, but really I wanted it for Breath of the Wild as well. I was like, so there's a $20 savings right there because I don't have to buy them now.
Yeah.
Because I already had the game, of course.
Hmm.
So I messed around with those just a little bit to see kind of how they looked, and I will say actually they are a pretty marked improvement. I mean, outside of running at 60 frames a second, they look the resolution bump is immediately noticeable if you have eyes that work. Uh, and then so I picked up two games for well technically three because I ended up getting the Mario Kart bundle. I downloaded that. I have not played it because I really don't know how much I even care about it.
Yeah.
But I did pick up two games. I picked up Bravely Default because I am a big turn-based RPG guy. I do not like playing things on handheld very often.
Hmm.
So I did not bother with it on 3DS or DS or whatever it was on. But I always thought it looked good. So I grabbed that. I actually have not played it yet. But I also decided to grab Cyberpunk, which I went back and forth as to what I wanted to do that because
Interesting.
I've played it mostly on PC, but I'm like, you know what? I will probably, even though I will play the Switch 2 predominantly in docked mode because like I said, I don't play handheld that much. I got Cyberpunk as a handheld version of it because it just obviously doesn't run that great on the Steam Deck. It's just
Yeah, I heard about that. That's unfortunate.
Steam Deck just really can't run it very well. But I was like, man, since the Switch 2's screen is VRR, not it doesn't output to a VRR TV, right? But the screen itself
Crazy.
is. Although the game does say it supports 120 frames, so it might not do VRR to a TV, but I think it does do high frame rate. But anyway, so I was like, all right, I'm gonna try that, and I will say, I actually was on the small screen. I was pretty impressed at how it looked, and seemed to hold the 40 pretty steady because 40 to the naked eye will look like 60 to most people, as long as it's on a 40 hertz
Screen. Yeah.
screen, right, correct. Because then it'll have even frame pacing. I could not play it very much though because, as I mentioned to you right before we started, I did pre-order a Switch 2 Pro controller. Mine has not come in yet though. It'll come in Saturday. I could have used my Switch one, but I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna wait. I want to use this one.
Why did the controller take longer than the console? That's odd. I don't...
One word, and it's a word we're all very familiar with.
GameStop.
That is right. Yeah,
Uh,
my Switch did not come from GameStop. It came from Walmart. And it says tomorrow, or it says Saturday. It could be tomorrow. That's just what FedEx is saying. But either
yeah.
way, I was like, yeah, this is. I will say one thing. I just to try it out. I did do the gyroscope aiming or whatever.
Oh my God, how was that?
Only in aiming, not when you're just wandering around. Just when you're aiming down sights.
Okay.
That's actually not as bad as you would think. They actually did a pretty good job of tuning that.
All right. Well, that's good.
Now, if the firefight was pretty hot and heavy, it might be tough to really kind of zone it in that way. But I was like, I just got in like a random firefight just to see how it went, and I was like, I can actually like kind of line up a headshot pretty quick this way. It actually works pretty good. But it is definitely not the way I prefer to play it, and so when the Pro controller gets here, I'll try it that way, and I'll be able to give a far more decent assessment. However, very early impressions, first on Cyberpunk, they seem to have done a pretty darn good job actually of this port. And then of the Switch 2 itself I was pretty hard on Nintendo, and rightly so. And I stand by what I said over the last 2 months or whatever since that reveal event.
Yeah.
But I will give them all the credit in the world. They actually did do a pretty solid job with the construction of the device. I actually really like this magnetic system as opposed to the
Yeah, that was really cool. I just tested it once, taking it on off once or twice. It's really cool.
it's much better and way like less clunky feeling than the rail system was of the first one.
Yeah, the tiny little button that we had to like press to like loosen it.
Yeah, like it was. You can do this with one hand. You're probably gonna press the R2 or whatever it is button whenever you do it, But the reality is, it is easy to take off. You just pull the little levers and pop them off.
Yeah, super easy.
Yep, and it holds really strong. There's no like wobble or wiggle, when it's in place.
Yeah, the console feels good, doesn't it? Like
it
just
does.
in your hands.
Well, I actually it feels better, but I don't think it feels good for me. I'm not saying for anybody else.
I mean, I'm just
Um,
comparing it to the Switch One. I
it
don't have
feels better to
anything
Switch
else.
One. It feels better to Switch One. I fully agree with that. I don't, like I said, I just don't like the feel of handhelds all that
Me
much.
neither.
I don't think I ever showed it on here. Maybe if you remind me, I'll show it next week. But back there, you actually see the little thing sticking up there, the little black thing.
Hmm.
Um, it is called a mechanism gaming pillow. It looks it looks ridiculous, but it's actually a
Sounds
cool idea.
ridiculous.
Yeah, but basically they made this rail system. Is what they call it. That it can attach onto it, and then the gaming pill itself is like a beanbag almost, but it has this arm with hinges on it. So you put it on your lap, and the idea is you don't have the weight of. You can use controllers, but I'm only going to really use
Oh,
it for handheld devices. So like, if you play things handheld, more often than not, if you're holding it up like this, your arms get like start to get tingly and stuff like that, right? You don't get that because all you're doing is you're putting your hands on it and just holding it loosely, whereas this is holding the weight for it. It is actually really well designed. It's really neat. Like I said, remind me next time I'm on, I'll show it off a little bit.
yeah.
Um, obviously being that the Switch 2 just came out, they have not made a bracket for it. But I'll keep an eye open, and when they do, I'll absolutely pick one up because that'll be how I actually would like to use this handheld.
I'm not gonna lie. I don't play with my hands up. My hands are usually just chilling in my lap. They're just like down here, or I'm like this, where I'm resting. I'm always resting on something. Or I actually really like to play like this. I play behind my head a lot with my arms up in the air. Uh,
What?
Yeah, because my couch or my chair recline, like they recline back. So when I'm reclined back, I just place my hands back here and I just like play like this and obviously this is not a good example because I don't have the way to rest anything, but like the rest of the chair goes like up to here on my arms, so I'm fully like covered up to this part with my rest. So it's like they're just hanging up in the air. Yeah.
I can't quite envision what you're saying here, but
So it's like just imagine you're reclined in a chair and your
right,
arms are up, but the back of the chair, because I have high back chairs or whatever, goes
right.
all the way up to your forearm. Goes up to here, so that your arm is not hanging in the air. It's just like resting on the chair. It's like an armrest, but in reverse.
Hmm.
I'll take a picture and show you sometime.
Yeah. I can't quite envision what you're trying to explain to me.
Yeah, it's
I'm
hard to
not arguing
explain,
with
but
you.
yeah.
I just don't understand what you mean.
No, yeah, for sure. It's definitely a different position, but I find it really comfortable because it's a good back stretch and a good arm stretching position. Because you're right, you do sit there for a long time, you get a little cramped and whatnot. So yeah, for sure.
But yeah. So yes. But anyway, this pillow thing, and actually, I'll be honest with you, for what it is, it's actually pretty reasonably priced. I want to say the pillow itself
Cool.
was, I don't know, $80, and you pay $20 for the bracket because they make a special bracket for each kind of console they make it for. But what's
Yeah.
nice actually is if you have a 3D printer for every single bracket, they give you the option to just 3D print the bracket if you
Oh,
want.
cool.
Yeah. Now I don't have one, so I do buy them, but the bracket's only like $20. I don't care. Um, but yeah, so like I'm sure they'll make it because they made it for the Steam Deck, which is what I got it for. They made it for the Portal, which I got it for. It's made both of those much more enjoyable especially the Steam Deck. 'Cause the
Yeah.
Steam Deck is heavy. Um, and they made it for the Switch, so I'm sure they'll make it for the Switch too.
Yeah.
And
All right.
I'll definitely pick one up for that.
Cool. Yeah, it's a good device so far. Again, just very early for me. Literally like just turned it on and set up the accounts, and I haven't even like downloaded games onto it yet. But I like the feel more compared to the Switch One. It is big. It is a very big screen. It is noticeably bigger. The first thing Jing said when she held it was, "Ooh, it's big."
Yeah, yeah. When they showed it off, it really didn't look like it was that much bigger.
No,
But
it
in
didn't.
practice, it really is. It is quite
Yeah,
a bit bigger.
it really. I only really got that idea when they started showing the comparisons of it to Switch and to Steam Deck. But
Even just
yeah. Yeah, so that's the Switch 2, and otherwise, on my end at least, I don't have too much to say. Oh yeah,
even the Joy-Con comparison. And that doesn't tell the whole story because you're missing obviously the width of it that way.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. But yeah, so that'll bring us to a close on the Switch 2 as a general what we think, what we've been playing topic here overall. But I will say, as far as what I've been playing outside of just turning my Switch 2 on, and then I'll throw it back to Rick because I don't have much more to say without getting into spoiler territories. I am almost done with Clair Obscur Expedition 33. I am in Act 3 right now. I need to level up a little bit because I don't want to have too much of a challenge when I go into the final act, the final dungeon. From what I understand, the final dungeon is really just like the whole final act. So I'm in the open world, full exploration. I've been leveling up my Pictos to get them as Lumina, to make them available as Lumina, so that I have more Lumina options and things available. Because I have some really good Picto that I hadn't leveled yet, so I'm gonna continue that a little bit more, and then I look some strategies up for grinding just to get my level up a little bit. I'm in the mid 50s right now for my characters, level wise, and I want to get them into like the 60s. I think is what I heard is recommended for the final section. So I'm gonna do just a little bit of grinding to make sure that I'm not struggling too much. And it's a really good game. I really enjoy this game. I have a lot of thoughts on this game that I would love to share with everyone, but it's way too spoilery to share most of my thoughts right now still.
Certainly on a show like this, yeah, you can't really do it in here.
Yeah, we might need to do a spoiler cast because are you gonna finish it, Rick?
I don't know. I realize that I am very much in the minority on this, but it just did not really do it for me. I think the combat's amazing. I do not really like the story very much at all.
Yeah, so I think that if you do finish it, then we should do with all four of us the Xbox and do a spoiler cast and just do a straight up spoiler because that'll be the first game ever that we've all finished if you finish it too, because I'm gonna finish it. I'll definitely get it done. Well, I was hoping to get it done tonight.
We have all finished other games, but since I have at least been part of it, yes.
Right. Since I mean, I don't know if there's anything that we've all finished since I joined even. Yeah, it's in January.
Before that, so.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be fun. I think it'd be a good idea to get a spoiler cast for that out for our little group. If you finish it, and if you don't, I'll talk to Alex and maybe our audience would like a spoiler cast. That might be fun. Because it's a game that has really given me a lot of thoughts and a lot of feelings. I will say, because Alex won't see this episode yet, I will say to you, Rick, that I kind of am not as in love with it as Alex and Paul seem to be.
Well, when I told them that what happened at the beginning of Act 2 did nothing for me, they were like, "Yeah, this isn't gonna do anything for you." Then I'm like, you know, you obviously know what I'm referring to.
I do, yeah.
Actually, I guess more really end of Act 1 is probably what.
Yeah, the end of Act 1 before Act 2 starts. Yeah,
right,
yep,
right.
I know what you're talking about.
And I was just like, if that's like this big like emotional moment, then this has fallen quite flat for me. I hate to say it.
I will say I was angry when it happened. I was angry, but not emotionally angry. I was angry because I don't like that choice in story direction. That I'm not a fan of stories that do what that did, and it made me very angry. Rick, it made me so angry that I stopped playing the game for the night and then almost decided I don't want to play anymore because I don't like when stories do that. Just to give you an idea.
See, actually, I like when they have the balls to do that. Actually,
yeah, I know you. Yeah, I mean, we have different tastes in how we like stories told and everything. So yeah, but without, we won't say any more about it. That's my thoughts. I really do like the game. I don't think it's anywhere near the greatest game ever made. But it's good.
I mean, don't get me wrong. In no way am I saying it's a bad game. I've never one time said that.
Yeah.
It is definitely a very good game. I just think it has been so absolutely insanely overpraised, including by Alex. I know he loves it. I think he has overpraised it to the point of insanity, and he has admitted that he has actually. To his credit, has said, you're right. I definitely have given it more credit than it deserves, but he does love it. I mean, that's fine. That's an opinion.
Yeah, I really can't wait to talk spoilers. I want to hear some other people's thoughts on it as well, because I know there's a few spoiler casts out there of people I'm interested in hearing. So I'm excited to finish it. I really wanted to get it done by today, but I just didn't get a chance to. Just didn't have an opportunity to get it done. I was thinking I might, but I'll have it done before next week for sure, like without a doubt, because it is June, which means it's almost time for me to play Infinite Wealth, and then also Mind's Eye comes out in 5 days, and I want to play that. So there are other games on the horizon. I know.
You might want to at least wait on that one.
I'm going to review it.
At least see what that day one patch does.
Yeah, well, I'm going to review it for SG, so I need to play it, whether it's good or bad. It's my job. It's my task to review it and see. But all right, and you've been playing. Sorry, go ahead.
I was kind of looking forward to it
Me too.
And
yeah,
hearing that it's just a completely unfinished mess right now, or at least that's how it appears to be.
Yeah,
was rather disappointing. But
I'm almost looking forward to it more because of that, simply because I've never had a game for SG that was bad or unfinished. So it might be fun to give a bad game, like a review for a bad game. Like that might be fun. I don't know. Or it could be great and surprise us. You never know. Like my lowest score was giving Aura a 7, I think, when I did Aura History Untold, because that was a perfectly good but not remarkable game with a
Mm.
fair few flaws. I don't know if you played Aura or not, but
No, that's not my type of game. But also, they picked the wrong time to release that game because they had much heavier hitters in that genre coming out at the same time, or
yeah,
the same general time at least. I mean,
yeah,
you had,
and it wasn't done. It was not finished at the
really.
time. Yeah, it was like the diplomacy was legitimately broken. It didn't work. It didn't like it did nothing. Some of it was really good. Some of it was really good, but there were a lot of QOL things that they added in later that I'm like, yeah, this
Mm,
should have been in here in the start. And then diplomacy was just straight broken from
mm,
the out. But the core of the game worked really well at the time. It needed some fixing to make it really shine. That's why I gave it a good score because it was good. I enjoyed it. The
mm,
first night I played it, I had that Civ bug of like one more turn. That was the first time I stayed up to like Jing got up for work or whatever, or she got up to do something the next day, and she was like, "Are you still up? Did you not go to bed?" I was like, "I didn't go to bed. I was
mm,
because I was enjoying it. Like it was that kind
mm.
of a game." So, all right, but Rick, you have been playing something else. What have you been playing?
Yes, I won't talk a whole lot about it because it's nothing new. But oddly enough, in the last week or so, I got the bug to start back up Starfield, and
Ooh.
I'm gonna throw out a contentious opinion here.
Okay.
This is a good game, and it was always a good game. That actually, it launched pretty well. It launched in a pretty good state. It got a little bit better. What was it, a few months after when they started to add some stuff in,
Yeah.
but it has its flaws. I'm not gonna say it doesn't. It's definitely got some of that Bethesda stuff in it. Although not a ton of their jank. Actually, they did a pretty good job getting rid of a lot of their jank.
That's good.
Um, but it does have some structural issues, I guess you could say, like the fact that you
Yeah.
fast travel. Like I don't even care that it technically is fast travel, but I wish it was a more streamlined fast travel where you didn't actually go into a menu to do it all the time.
Yeah,
Like
I
you know what I
remember
mean?
that
Like
from the little bit I played.
yeah, like if they would somehow you're not changing the whole game here, right? If they would somehow make it that you from your cockpit of your ship can
Yeah.
bring up
Boop,
your
boop, boop,
star system.
boop.
Yeah, I'd be like, okay, this is exactly what I wanted you to do. Now this is perfect, right? Now it actually feels like I'm at least like a ship captain,
Yeah.
jumping. I'd be totally happy with that. I don't need a seamless, space to,
Yeah.
I'd be totally fine
No Man's
if you
Sky
didn't,
style, yeah.
right, if you just didn't have to go through the damn menu every time.
I remember
But
that menu being really weird, like unintuitive to navigate.
it
Like
it
it
is,
was
but
at least
when
on
you
keyboard because I was playing on PC. It was like shift to like move between. Like it was just very strange. I'd hit escape because I was like, oh, let me go back a page, and then it would like bring up the main menu instead of like do
it,
something. It's
it,
very
it, it,
weird.
it was awkward, but nevertheless, it's still probably the best Bethesda themselves have ever actually made.
That's true.
Because
Sky UI exists for a reason for
that's
Skyrim.
right, and to this day, I have no idea why they didn't like pay that dude a little bit of money just to make that the official interface for Skyrim. Because even with the controller, it's way better than Skyrim's basic interface. So I don't
Yeah.
know why they didn't make it official. But anyway, but nevertheless, I don't know why. I don't know what it was. I know what's it called, the DLC. Shattered
Shattered
Space
Space.
is just absolute dog shit. And I have never actually played it. I do have it because I bought the early
Constellation
access pass
Edition.
or what. No, I wanted to buy that, but it was
Oh.
out. No, the deluxe edition or whatever is what I have.
Oh,
Because
okay. I have the Constellation Edition.
I did want that because I do actually wear a smartwatch every day, and I was actually gonna wear it.
I
But,
don't.
but it was sold out by the time I went to get it, so I couldn't get one.
Yeah.
So I've never actually played Shattered Space, but I know it's bad. But I just kind of got the bug, and I'm like, you know what? It has its issues. I know that. I was like, but it did do overall kind of what I wanted it to do, and
Hmm.
it did let me feel like a freaking spaceman, and that's kind of all I really wanted.
The NASA
And
punk theme that they
yeah,
went
and
for.
I mean, I love the aesthetic. Like
Yeah, it's
even
so
though
cool.
even though I think Elder Scrolls is still almost objectively their best series. I know some people will say Fallout, but I think they're insane.
Yeah, oh yeah, they're out of their minds.
Elder Scrolls is 1,000 times better than Fallout. And
Well,
1,000
Fallout
times
has
better.
nothing, in my opinion, with the bit that I know about Fallout lore. Sorry, Fallout fans. It has nothing unique about its setting. It's just a post-apocalyptic wasteland where
I
bombs
mean,
went off in the 50s with
I
some.
mean, well,
You
actually,
know,
no, they went off in the 2077s, I think is when it was. But
sorry, yes, with
people went into the vaults in the 50s, and their
the tech. Yeah,
technology stagnated
right. Yeah,
as a 50s thing. But I mean, you can totally argue then that Elder Scrolls is just fantasy lore, but
It is fantasy
you know.
lore, but I do think that Elder Scrolls has a more unique twist on
Oh,
fantasy lore.
I definitely agree with that. I'm not
Yeah,
arguing with you here. I'm just saying
yeah.
but
I mean, Aedra and Daedra, and I mean, I don't. Okay, so sorry. Quick little tangent. There is. I've been lately listening to Elder Scrolls lore ASMR videos where someone just reads Elder Scrolls lore or talks about Elder Scrolls lore. And I want to give her a shout out. She's bigger than we are, but it's Oven ASMR is her YouTube channel. She does like all these nerdy lore videos, and she's just like sometimes her face is on camera, sometimes she's got a map or something, but it's just her reading lore, and it's so interesting. And she's not doing anything weird. It's just her reading lore in a soft spoken voice, and it's like so interesting to hear about. I love it. It's so cool.
it's
The
just
lore.
I mean it's a massively deeper lore than Fallout.
It is.
To be honest with
Yeah.
you, Fallout's best lore is not from the Bethesda games. It's from the inner or the Black Isle games.
Yeah.
That's where the lore was really really good from
Well, that's
Fallout.
where it
But
originated. Yeah, of
yeah,
course.
but nevertheless, that said, I again I know I am on the vast majority. I I actually prefer Starfield to Fallout even just because I don't really like. I thought Fallout 4 was terrible,
Hmm.
and New Vegas was good. And actually, I love 3, but I just don't like what Bethesda's done. That said, back to the original point, I did always like Starfield, and I was like, it has some things I would like to see corrected, but I think a combination of people being pretty much fed up with Bethesda's bullshit, as well as maybe Bethesda being really good at over promising on Starfield kind of gave it a more, and also certainly no question
Yeah.
fanboy wars played heavily into this too. um Probably gave Starfield a more negative overall reputation that it deserved. Again, it has its issues. I'm not saying it's perfect.
Hmm.
It's certainly not, Oblivion. It's nowhere near on that level, but I do like it. And I was, and you know what, I was like, this is also the best gameplay they've ever made by a freaking country mile. Like, the gameplay actually is quite good.
Yeah.
The shooting feels good. They did a remarkably good job with the ship combat. Actually, I was surprised. I thought that would be horrible, and it was quite decent. So yeah, so I jumped back in. I'm kind of having a good time with it. I needed from all the shit that has been going on.
Yeah.
I needed a break just to
The
get lost
escape.
get lost in a universe somewhere. No pun
Yeah.
intended there, but and I'm kind of enjoying it. I even actually bought a couple of the creations.
Oh, never
There's one
bought
that actually.
anything.
Well, I usually don't, but there's a couple there's actually one that Bethesda themselves have been promoting recently. There is a mod. I don't know if it's a guy or if it's a group. Has been making actually really high quality mods. Recently, he made actually a Bard's College one for Skyrim, which is like it basically has
I
like a whole.
remember hearing about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the same guy. It's called like Watchtower. You can get like an entire fleet of ships in this and stuff like that. And prior to
Cool.
that, he had made a small. This one was free, and actually Bethesda promoted it as well. It was called At Hell's Gate. It actually was a little like Doom promotion. Um, but he made this, and I was like, you know what, this is supposed to be awesome. So I grabbed it, and I'm not even to the point I can do it yet because I did actually restart it. But I've heard it's excellent, and so I was like, you know what, it's like $5. Like that's worth giving a try to.
Cool.
That's all I really have
Yeah.
to say.
I remember hearing about the Bard's College thing where he like added a Bard's College
Mhm,
storyline because it was
mhm.
clearly like left out when the whole thing exists and now they didn't do it for some reason. Yeah, that's really cool that he does those things or they do those things. I was so excited for Starfield, and I played enough so that I do know what you're talking about. Like regular shooting felt good because I played the opening mission, but I literally got to New Atlantis, and then I was like, I'm gonna wait because I really want to play Baldur's Gate 3 right now because that's what I was fixated on at that point in time. And I was also going on vacation or something, or just back from vacation. Yeah, it was.
And also, Cyberpunk's Phantom Liberty came out like 2 weeks after that. It came out at a bad time. There's no doubt about it. It came out at a
Yeah,
bad time.
it's
It came out sandwiched between two objectively better RPGs, basically.
it's really funny to me because Starfield has fallen into the Cyberpunk bucket for me. So I'm looking at my desktop right now. Starfield and Cyberpunk are right next to each other on my icons list, and I have played neither of them more than like 2 or 3 hours.
Mm.
And the only reason for that is because I was so excited. I have the collector's editions for both of them. I got like the $250 collector's edition statue with Cyberpunk and everything. Like I paid the money, but it was so like okay at launch, mostly because I didn't have a PC strong enough at the time, and I was hoping I would have a new
Yeah,
PC by then.
the PC version of that game is astronomically better than the console.
Yeah,
And
so
actually, I will say the console version now is really good, like the
yeah,
Xbox One and PS5 version, but or Series X, excuse me, and PS5 version. But the PC version is just the ray tracing really does make a huge
yeah.
difference in that game
Well,
because
I mean,
it is the art style.
I've got my, my 4090 and the power for it and everything now, so I do intend to play it. I'm hoping to get to it this year because part of it was like Starfield, it was not completely ready to play when it launched, and they promised all these changes and fixes, and they just kept doing it and doing it and doing it for 5 years or
Mm-hmm.
4 years or whatever they've been doing for Cyberpunk. So it's like, all right,
They're still doing it. They got another one coming this month. Did you see that?
yeah, yeah, exactly. So it's like, all right, whenever they're done, I'll actually jump in. And so I have the same feeling with Starfield, as excited as I was. The only Bethesda stuff I've ever played really are uh 4 and 5, Skyrim and Oblivion. I never played any. I played a little bit of Fallout 3. I never played 4. I played a little bit of 3, and like I don't even think I left the vault. Like I just don't care that much about that universe. I wasn't interested enough to keep going. And then I love Starfield enough. I love the idea of Starfield, but it just didn't work at the time. And so I'm hoping Sunday, Xbox Showcase coming up this Sunday, maybe they'll announce some new expansion or some
I,
fixes or
I would think so. Todd Howard said they have like a 5 year. I would guess they're going to announce a new
yeah,
expansion and they're going to announce the PS5 port for it as well. I would certainly think.
probably. But we'll
Like,
see.
they'll probably sneak that one at the end. Like they won't be like, oh, and it's coming to PS5, but they will
Yeah,
probably
splash
have like,
screen.
yeah, they'll have like Starfield reconstructed space or whatever the hell they call it, right? And it'll be like coming
Yeah.
September, blah. And at the bottom you'll have Xbox, PC,
Yes.
Switch. I'll bet you they release it for Switch too, and then I'll bet
Maybe.
you it'll have the PlayStation logo as
Yeah.
well. I'll bet.
Starfield Reborn, like Starborn or whatever,
Yeah, actually, you're
Reborn.
right. That is what it's rumored to be called. You're right. It is called Starborn. I totally forgot the name leaked. You're right. That is what it is.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's what we've been playing. Let's move into the headlines here. Obviously, we're gonna start off with the biggest thing this week, which was the Sony PlayStation State of Play. Our goal here is we're gonna list everything that was announced for the show, and we're only gonna talk about in any detail a few of them because there were a lot of things shown off or announced, I should say, shown off or announced. So let's just go in order. I think this is in order of the I think this is in order of the show, but let's go. You ready, Rick?
I'm ready.
All right. They started off with Luminous Arise. These are the people of Tetris Effect. I don't have anything to say about that. But then they surprised us with the re-reveal of Pragmata. Do you have anything to say on Pragmata, Rick? Any interest in this one? This was from the original PS5 reveal.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely interested. I mean, Capcom is at this point one of the best developers on Earth, but man, they do got to. I realize it is early footage. That frame rate was rough.
It sure was.
Frame rate was rough. Like usually, even when you show something this early, it looks a little smoother than that. But man, that wasn't even running at 30.
Yeah, I thought it looked really cool.
The game looks great. Yeah, no doubt.
I
No
was
question.
interested, and then I heard it was kind of supposed to be like a scary game, and then I was like, oh, maybe I'm not interested. And then they showed it off this time, and I'm like, doesn't look scary. This looks kind of really cool, actually. And that robot girl with her like hacking powers and whatever she was doing, I was excited. I can't promise I'll play it, but it's definitely something that I'm interested in seeing more about and potentially playing without question. So after that, we had Romeo is a Dead Man. That's the next game from Suda.
Grasshopper manufacturer. Yep.
Yep. I don't have any affinity for those games or any background. If you have anything you want to say, Rick, you can. I don't.
I will say that trailer took me on quite the roller coaster because when it first started, it had that very weird, like, I don't know what you would call it, like a really badly drawn cartoon
Yeah.
thing to it. And I was like, what is going on here? And then it led to almost like a bullet hell thing. But then it transitioned to like within 3 seconds, I'm like, this looks like No More Heroes. I'm like, holy
Yeah.
shit, this is Grasshopper Man. And I immediately realized it was Suda 51. And I was like, okay, now I'm in because his games are cool. I do like his stuff.
Good. I'm glad you're excited. I think Alex looked excited for it too in the chat when we were chatting. I'm not sure what Paul's reaction was to it. And then we moved into Silent Hill F. I don't have any interest whatsoever in this game. Rick, I know you do, so go
Yeah,
ahead.
I've been a big Silent Hill fan since back in the day. I predate a lot of you uh you know bandwagon jumpers. I like, actually I don't have it anymore, but I liked Silent Hill back since the original one. Unfortunately I did not like it after the third one for quite some time, but the
I think
remake
that's
of
common sentiment, isn't it? Like
yeah,
most people
I
stop
think
liking it there.
four is pretty popular. I did not like four. And then there were some middling quality ones after that, but uh, the remake of two was excellent. Now this is not made by the same team. This is that was made by Bloober Team. This is made
Yeah.
by I don't even know what their name is,
I
but
think it's internal. I think it's
it's an
internal
internal
Konami.
Konami team. Yeah, like I think it actually is like Silent Hill team. But
Very
they
Japanese.
yes. Well, what's interesting about it is that's what makes this unique is that it's in Japan in the '60s.
Hmm.
Silent Hill is not in Japan. I mean, it could be in the '60s. It doesn't matter, but it's not in Japan. It's in Silent Hill, which is a made up fictitious town somewhere in
Hmm.
America, typically in the Northeast. Like it's kind of like Maine-ish area is about where people estimate. But this is set in Japan in the '60s, and you play as a young girl. But it looks interesting. When they were first talking, like when they first did their Silent Hill transmission in February, March, whatever it was, I was
Yeah,
like,
something like
okay.
that.
I was like, I hope this is good, but there's not a lot to show there. You know, I like the idea that they're going into some pretty deep subject material. I mean, they've pretty clearly, hinted that there's going to be like SA referenced and stuff like that.
Hmm.
But you figure Japan '60s schoolgirl, that makes sense, right? Like that would be the kind
Yeah.
of shit that they would deal with. Um, the gameplay reveal looked pretty good. They did confirm after the fact that there's a reason why she was using melee much of the time. That it's a much more melee focused. Again,
I
Japan
heard
makes
it's more
sense.
actiony, is what I saw as was a
Well,
quote. That was a
Silent
quote I
Hill
read somewhere.
Silent Hill is always kind of actiony, so I don't really know why everyone says it because like unlike Resident Evil, you have a continually viable melee weapon with you at all times.
Yeah.
Resident Evil, you have a melee weapon, but it's not viable in most cases. Whereas in Silent Hill, it is, and especially in like the Silent Hill 2 remake, like you get a crap ton of ammo. If you hoard it even a little bit early, you're never low on it after that.
Hmm.
Um, but it does seem like it is going to be far more melee focused, which again makes sense. Japan's not exactly a gun-free country, so nor was it back then. But interesting. Definitely graphics look good. I couldn't tell
Yeah,
from
it did. It looked
on
really
Unreal
pretty, I
Engine,
will say.
and I was wondering how the monster designs would work since they are done very different in this. So the monster designs in the older games were always, just as a minor spoiler of the overall thing, they're always representations of the character's personal traumas, right?
Hmm.
Which is why you have like the sexy nurses and stuff like that. Those are references to parts of the story. I won't go into detail on that, but they're probably the most famous enemies from this. They're very different here in that they keep saying like find the beauty in terror or whatever, like that's like their tagline.
Yeah, it'd be a little
Um,
weird if the Japanese high schooler had sexy nurses as her
well,
demons.
I get that, but I'm saying like they're
No, I
not
know.
based.
I'm just making a joke.
I know, but they don't seem to be based on personal traumas necessarily. I mean, maybe they are. I don't know, but that doesn't seem to be the case. They have like almost like a floral thing to them, and I was curious how it would work. But based on a couple that we saw there, I'm like, okay, those do look pretty freaking creepy. So that's actually pretty cool. I'm hyped for it. I'm not hyped for the release date, unfortunately. September 23rd, so it's in a very busy damn time.
Yeah, there were like
But
6 September release dates. That was crazy.
but basically, by the time the end of August hits, there is no relenting whatsoever on big releases. But
Yep.
that's all I really have to say. Just looking forward to it. Looks good.
Good, good. I think the next one is you too, because next up was Bloodstained: The Scarlet Engagement, the sequel to
Yes.
Bloodstained: Ritual of the Night. I don't do 2D side scroll like 2D plane or 2.5. Like I don't care, but I will say it is very pretty, and I really thought that
I'm
I,
surprised you think that because I mean, the game's going to be awesome. I don't think it's pretty at all. I actually I think
do you
the art's kind of
remember?
ugly.
Do you remember when Bloodstained, the first one, was not out yet, and they like did that? We redesigned everything trailer, and they like had a swipe screen of like this was the original design, then they swipe transition over into like the new look. Do you remember that happening?
I don't remember that, but I do remember them changing the art design because
Yeah,
they went to a far more like cell shading like pop,
Yeah, I
like
thought it
pop
was
off
like
the screen look.
I thought that was gorgeous. I was like, that is awesome. I'm never gonna play this, but that looks so cool, and I still think it looks really cool. But other than that, I don't have any interest in
Yeah,
actually playing it. I'm just happy that it looked cool.
I mean, all I really gotta say is it's Castlevania without the Castlevania name, and that's pretty much all you need to know because,
Yeah,
it's Koji Igarashi, the not the creator of Castlevania, but the creator of Castlevania as it is now, which is the
yeah.
the Metroidvania style, right?
Mhm.
Um, he knows what he's doing. I mean, he's made very very few poor games, and Bloodstain was very good. So it bears believing that Scarlet Engagement, yeah, is going to be quite good as well.
Yeah, cool. Next up was Digimon Story Time Stranger. Now, I've never played a Digimon story game. I really like Digimon the anime. I don't want to say too much on this because I don't have a lot of experience with their time like the story games or anything like that. But I thought it looked kind of cool. Um, I'm interested. I'm slightly interested in checking it out. Rick, I don't think you have any interest in this whatsoever, do you?
Not even in the slightest.
All right, but this is all you? No, not you.
Oh,
I thought this was you. Is this just
no,
Alex then?
it's Alex
Alex
and
and
Paul.
Paul?
Actually, Paul was very hyped.
Okay, I
That
thought
said,
you were in there too.
there are a lot of people that are. I am
Yeah.
not. Yeah, not
Okay.
me. I'm not a strategy RPG guy.
All right. Well, then this one will go quick. It's Final Fantasy Tactics: The Ivalice Chronicles. I've never played a Final Fantasy Tactics game. I was looking forward to seeing this, and then I was really disappointed that it was just like HD. It's not a remake. It's just they made it look a little bit prettier, but they didn't change the art style.
Well, I mean, they changed it from pixel art to.
Right. I was hoping it would be like a ground up, like look like a Fire
Mm,
Emblem-y style,
yeah,
change, like that sort of
that-
thing. But
I can tell you right now that they could never do that because the fans would absolutely have a shit fit. If the fans want the game to look like it does.
well, maybe it'll be a prelude
Mm.
to an actual like
I,
new tactics one.
I
That'd be
will
cool.
say, leading into it when you guys were talking about it in the Discord, and you had said that you did not like Tactics Ogre. I didn't. I was busy at the end. I didn't have a chance
I
to.
didn't like the look of it. I never played it, but yeah.
Oh, okay, I was going to tell you if you didn't like that, don't waste your time looking at this because it's
No, no, no.
Tactics Ogre is basically what I think came before this, and that's basically what this was.
Yeah,
This was
no,
like, this was like a spiritual successor.
yeah. My issue with Tactics Ogre was I didn't like the art style, but I also heard that they like messed up the leveling system of it so that you couldn't out level something or you couldn't grind like you had a level cap. It was some sort of weird change to the progression system that I remember people complaining about when it released. So yeah, no, I never played it. But I like Fire Emblem Three Houses at least. That's a
Yeah,
Fire Emblem I
those are
enjoy.
those. I mean, they're the same genre, but they could not. They're very very
Okay,
different.
all right,
Even outside of the romancing stuff, they are very different games.
gotcha. All right, next up, Baby Steps. Don't care.
I find this game almost offensively annoying, actually.
I do too.
And I have since the minute they showed it, I was like, this is such a try hard attempt at humor that is not funny at all.
I wanted to like get surgery to replace my eyes after they rolled so far back in my head when Sid Schumann said he laughed so hard he almost barfed.
I agree. I was like, why have you yet to see anything that I thought was even remotely funny, let alone that funny?
Yeah. So no, nothing there.
Yep. Yep.
Hirogami was next. This is that origami like game.
This game looked cool. Yeah, this
Yeah,
game
you
looked
you
cool.
thought this looked interesting.
Hmm.
Then after that was Everybody's Golf Hot Shots. I've never played an Everybody's Golf game, so I'm a little bit curious about this one, but I don't have anything to say because I don't know anything about the series really. Do you?
I mean, I know about them. They're not really my thing, so I don't care.
Okay,
But they
that's
are
fair.
hugely popular. So I mean,
Yeah,
I think this was announced before, though. I don't think this
it
was
was. It
announced.
was announced
Okay,
before.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. This I'm not doing just announced. I'm doing
Yeah, yeah.
everything
No,
that
no, I
was.
get it. I'm just saying, like, I don't think this was like a big surprise.
No, no, it was not. No, not
I
a
think I
surprise
give
at
like
all.
a date. I think that's basically what this was.
Hmm. Next up, Ninja Gaiden Ragebound.
Looks good.
I don't care.
Yeah,
Cool.
looks good.
Okay. Next up after that is Cairn, the mountain climbing game.
Yeah, it came to Xbox a couple years ago, if I
Yeah,
remember correctly.
I think it was last year. Yeah, it was
Last
pretty
year, okay.
it was pretty recent. Yeah, I remember because I was like, wait, that's not on PlayStation already.
Yeah, I thought it was too, actually, but it was
Yeah,
not.
it was. Oh, it's actually not out yet at all. It's
Really?
coming out in November.
Okay, there must be a different game that I'm thinking that I was.
I think you're
it was
thinking
then.
of the Life is Strange teams climbing game. You know the You know
Uh,
the climbing game I'm talking about?
I think so. I don't remember the name, but
I got it. It was called Jusant.
yeah, that is what I'm thinking of. Yeah.
Jusant, yeah. I thought Karen came out already though as well. I could have sworn that it was already out.
Yeah, I don't know.
But oh well. Next up, Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection with a K. I think Alex went crazy when he saw this.
I was pretty pumped too, actually. I'm
Were
not a
you?
big
Okay.
I'm not a big fighting game fan, but I do tend to like these kinds of like historical collections. And based on what they showed in that trailer, it looks like they're making a lot of effort to not just include the games, but number one, also include every version of the games. And if you know
Yeah.
about Mortal Kombat, there was a lot of versions of each game, right?
Yeah,
But
that's what they do with these is they include all these different versions of the game that they're doing.
but they're also putting a lot of like making of stuff and like
Yeah.
art, and I was like, that's actually awesome. That alone might
Yeah.
make that
Well,
worth it.
it's the same team that did Karateka and
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, that was
yeah, and
that,
one
that
other whatever the other one was that they did. It
because
did Digital Eclipse.
yes, that sounds right.
Yeah,
Because
Digital Eclipse is the name here.
yeah, so I actually I don't know if I'll get it at launch, but I'll probably pick that up eventually, if nothing else, just for the historical.
Tetris Forever, that was the other one. They did the making of Karateka and then they did Tetris Forever last year and then the year before that was the Karateka one. Yeah, so
Mm.
cool. And then along the same lines, not a game, but the reveal of Project Defiant, I guess is what it's called. It was a fighting stick. They have announced and are releasing a PlayStation branded fighting stick for the fighting game community. I had said in our chat that this explains why they recently, like 2 years ago, I think, started cutting down on the allowable fighting sticks to be plugged into the console. They put some sort of software patch out. Xbox was doing something similar. Um, and
I think what you might be thinking of is they block those Chronos Maxes, what they're called.
I think so.
Yeah, those were. I mean, the fighting sticks were an unfortunate civilian casualty of those.
Yeah.
That was more of an attempt to stop people using mouse and keyboard on console.
Mm. Yeah, but that's cool. I'm glad that that exists for the fighting game community. I'm not a fighting game guy either. But when we get to the end of this list, we'll understand another reason why they probably released this fighting stick here.
Well,
But for
actually, I'll give you another major reason that everyone kind of
oh,
forgets.
please.
Don't forget, Sony made a huge investment into Evo.
Oh, buying. Yeah, they bought Evo. Yeah, they own
Did they
Evo
buy it?
now.
Okay,
Yeah, they
I
own
don't think.
Evo.
Yeah, that's why. Because this is basically to say, Xbox, don't even look at them for fighting games anymore. This is
Love
100%
it. That's so
PlayStation.
funny. Oh man.
There is zero doubt in my mind that that played a major role in
Yeah.
this.
No, you're right. That's got to be a huge factor. All right. Next up, we have Metal Gear.
We had three huge announcements back to back to back here.
We did Metal
Well,
Gear.
one's not an announcement, but nevertheless. Sorry, go ahead.
Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater.
Let's
Rick,
go.
I know you're excited for this one. You're
Right.
sitting up. You haven't been sitting up all show.
No, I tend to slouch down, and when I get so far,
It was a
slouched down, I have to
joke,
sit
Rick.
down.
I'll make it
I
a
know,
joke. I'm just
I
saying
know,
you're
I'm just
excited.
saying.
You're excited here. This
Yes,
is good.
I'm very excited. Metal Gear Solid 3 is my second favorite game of all time, after only Final Fantasy 7. So I'm eating good because most of them are getting full on remakes. But also, very exciting for me at least was at the end the little sneak reveal that Metal Gear Online looks like it's going to be in this. Metal Gear Online is a massively underappreciated part of Metal Gear Solid 3 Subsistence. That
Can you
was
tell me what it is quickly? Because I have no idea. I didn't know there was an
it's-
online component.
It's Subsistence. Subsistence was the re-release of Metal Gear Solid 3 that added a bunch of new stuff, but it also specifically the big deal was it changed the camera. Metal Gear Solid 1 and 2 were top down. 3 was also top down with some amount of movability to it. They released Subsistence, which actually gave it a proper 3D camera, not over the shoulder because that was not really a thing much at that point yet. But it put it behind him, and it totally changed the game and made it way freaking better. Well, they also added other stuff to it. So you kept seeing the Ape Escape stuff. That's a little mini game that actually, unfortunately, was removed from Subsistence, but it was called like Mesaru Gear Solid. Mesaru is the Japanese word for monkey.
Yeah. Sadu.
and
Yeah, Sadu.
Yeah, Sadu is the monkey. It was just kind of a fun little tongue-in-cheek, collaboration, and it honestly was quite hilarious. But they did end up removing it, I believe, entirely from Subsistence. But they added Metal Gear Online, which is, I mean, what it sounds like. It's a multiplayer mode. There were.
What do you do in it though? Like, what do you do in Metal Gear Online?
Fight other people. It depends what mode you play.
Okay.
There's one mode, and actually the one they were specifically showing here, I forget what the name of it was, but one player would be Snake, and they would have to infiltrate something, and there would be like 6 or 7 other
Cool.
ones. Um, but my favorite mode always was, it was effectively capture the flag, but you didn't get flags. You got, I forget what their names were, but there was this little rubber duck and this little rubber frog, and you actually would find in Metal Gear Solid 3, you would actually find them in trees and stuff like that when you were playing. But it looked, it create, Metal Gear always has its distinct art and some of the goofiness to it. If you ever find a copy of Metal Gear Solid Subsistence for PS2, look at the back, and there's a picture of one of the guys playing it running with this little duck above his head, and it looks hilarious because you have this like, incredibly realistic like looking thing with this yellow freaking duck floating over his head, and it makes these sounds. It's like whack 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 whenever you run into. But it was so fun. It was such a fun multiplayer mode.
Cool.
And like a lot of people don't want to play the old versions of Metal Gear because they don't like the controls. The controls being what they were was actually kind of like an integral part of how that worked. So I am, because it made it so that it was intentionally a little bit clunky to try to do some of the fighting. So I'm curious how that'll work with the more standardized over the shoulder and modern stuff. You know? But either way, hell yeah, can't wait.
Well, I have never played any Metal Gear anything. I know this is probably the best place and time to start, so I won't commit to playing it now, but Rick, I may play this game at some point this year. I will try. I will try.
You cannot start with 3. I cannot emphasize that enough. You can.
Why? Alex and Paul were like, 3's perfect to start with because
they're
it's the
insane.
start of the story.
No, they're insane. It is the start to the story, yes, but it is contingent upon you knowing everything that it is leading up to. You have to play Metal Gear Solid in release order, or none of it makes a damn bit of sense.
I thought it didn't make any sense in the first place. I thought that was why people loved it.
Anybody says that's an idiot, because it actually makes perfect sense. It's complicated. It's a lot. There's a lot to it. No,
Right.
I cannot stress enough. Do not start with Metal Gear
We
Solid.
can talk about this offline then, because I've been basically shamed by Paul and Alex into like playing this game.
Well, you should be shamed because it's an amazing game, but you cannot start with 3. Do not
All
listen
right,
to that.
we'll
Do
talk
not
about it
listen to that.
later. All right. Speaking of 3s, though, Rick, go ahead, throw it to you. Neo 3.
Neo 3. That was a surprise actually, because
Huge surprise.
Neo 1 and 2 were very, very popular, but anytime Koei Tecmo were asked about it, they had said like, no, we told what we wanted to tell. We have no interest, or not no interest. We have no plans to do any more Neo.
And they've been pumping out so many other games.
Yeah. All right. Well, to be fair, they're not actually making Ninja Gaiden 4. They're making Platinum is making it. Although they're involved somewhat.
Yeah, they're helping, right?
Yeah, but no, they still have been busy. So they've been plugging away at this behind the scenes, clearly, because it's only a few months out. They said it's early 2026, but Neo is so good. I love Neo. It's not your.
That's it. You're just like, I love Neo.
Yeah. Well, I think it's probably. I think it's way better than everything other than maybe Dark Souls 3, and maybe Bloodborne. But I think it's much better than all the other Souls games.
Yeah, Wikipedia has Ninja Gaiden 4 as a co-developed with Platinum, so I don't know what level co-developed is, how involved they are. I think we went through this before once, but they are a prolific developer. They make crazy amounts of stuff. It's outlandish.
They're a huge publisher too. You got to remember that their real money is in all that like Romance of the Three Kingdoms and stuff like that. They make a shitload of money there.
Yeah. All right, next up though is Thief VR Legacy of Shadow. Now, I don't know if this is the original Thief in a VR mode remade or something. Like I don't know.
It looked like it was because certain parts that they showed, and I could be totally wrong. Maybe it's like a sampling of levels, whatever. But they showed levels that are specifically from the original Thief.
Okay, because I've never played the original Thief. I've only ever played one Thief game, and it was the 2014 one. But I liked it enough that this is kind of interesting, especially as someone who has a VR headset.
It hurts so much because that is objectively the worst one.
It wasn't great. I didn't walk away going like, oh, I gotta play the rest of the Thief games. I hope they make a sequel. Like that was not my stance.
The problem is obviously the original 2 games are very old at this point.
Yeah.
But the original game and like the second one really like ramped up the storytelling.
Yeah.
But the original game was honestly one of the 3 major pioneers of like the early 3D stealth genre. It was that Tenchu and obviously Metal Gear were pretty much the pioneers of the genre.
I'm gonna check my trophies and see when I played that Thief game because I did not play it
Well, it came out in
when it.
2014,
I know
so
it came out 2014, but I did not play it in 2014. I got it at some point, and then I was like, okay, I'm good. I don't need to play this, but I don't remember when it was. But I don't have anything else to say on this other than I'm kind of excited because I like to have a reason to use the VR headset, and this actually looks like it might be a reason
if if
to
it's
use the
good,
VR headset.
if it's good, this honestly might be what convinces me to get one
Yeah.
because
January 2015, I played it. January 2015.
well, that's not too long after it came out. It came out
No.
like I think it came out like August
Yeah, not
of
too long.
2014. So, um, yeah, I had a PSVR one, and actually,
I did
I,
not.
I I will say even though it wasn't good, it was easily the best way to play Resident Evil 7. I loved playing that through in VR. And everyone's like, I'm too scared to do that. I'm like,
Yeah.
well, grow some balls because it was the best way to play it. But I did not get a PSVR 2 because I saw how bad Sony was at supporting the PSVR.
Yeah, it
However,
wasn't great.
if and I mean they still have been actually they've been maybe even worse at supporting this one, but there is enough other stuff now that I'm like, if this is good, this might and the fact that they dropped the price to
Yeah.
350 now or whatever it is, this might be enough to convince me to consider
Good.
what
Okay. Cool.
maybe.
Next up, Tides of Tomorrow. This is that weird kind of, but also maybe not weird. Apparently, it's a survival game according to Google, but your
I don't even remember this.
choices. This is the one where it was like your choices impact their world, and you go into their world, and you're trying to survive on the ocean, and the world's been destroyed.
Oh,
And
was it the Sea of Thieves knockoff basically?
no, that's called Sea of Remnants. We'll get there in a second. This
Okay.
was the one. It was like this person, and it was. So the one thing that stood out to me was there was a guy who came up to you looking sick, and one character shoved him over the edge, and then the other character saw that other player had taken that choice, and they had the choice of shoving the guy over the edge or actually not shoving him over the edge. Does that
I don't
ring any
remember this
bells?
at all.
Okay.
No.
It was
I guess this shows you how much it really
yeah, it was. I thought it was a little bit interesting. I want to see more about it. Yeah, Tides of Tomorrow is what it's called. But yeah, I don't want to say too much about it because it's new. It was a new thing. It looked kind of interesting, and that's it. Do you want to? Are you looking it up now?
Yeah, okay, now that I see a picture. Yeah, this did nothing for me.
Okay.
I do know what this is now that I see
Yeah. Yeah.
like the art style.
Mm-hmm. Next up is Astrobot. Nothing to say here other than some new levels and the DualSense returns, except I think it's got the squinted eyes this time instead of the big open eyes. I think that was the difference. In
Oh,
the
really? Actually,
controller.
I didn't notice that actually.
They were saying that
I-
different controller and
I
then
have-
a little surprise.
I think it's that one right there.
Yeah, and it's got
It's
the
somewhere in there. It's somewhere in there.
it's got the big open eyes, right? It's got the fully open
yeah.
eyes on. Yeah,
Right,
this the one they
right.
showed had the squinted sly eye. Yeah.
Is it nothing like that? No, that's God War actually. No.
Rick is
Yeah.
looking for.
Yeah, I'm looking for the controller. Yeah, they
His
are
Astro controller.
They're all the way
Yeah.
open. Man,
Yeah.
now that means I probably have to buy that one too. Come on.
All right.
And you know there's gonna be a Ghost of Yote, and I'm gonna have to buy that one.
Oh my goodness. Next up is Sea of Remnants. That is the Sea of Thieves / Skull and Bones knockoff.
Yeah, no thanks.
I looked kind of cute. I don't know. I didn't play Skull and Bones or Sea of Thieves, but some people do. I'm hope they enjoy it.
Yeah. I mean, Sea of Thieves is huge. It's just not something for me.
Yeah. Sword of the Sea is next. That is from the people who did Journey and other games. I don't know. I never played Journey. I know a lot of people think it's one of the best things ever. I know Rick thinks it's extremely overrated, so he probably doesn't have too much to say about
It's
this.
probably the worst of their 3 games that was on PlayStation. On PS3, I should say.
Yeah. I
I don't get the love affair of Journey. I just do not understand it.
I didn't have interest in Journey. I don't have interest in this. So we'll move on to the real cool thing. This is probably honestly, like maybe my highlight of the show here with 007 First Light.
It was up there for me, that's for sure.
And I have never seen a James Bond movie or anything related
That's
to James
insane.
Bond.
That's
And
crazy.
yet this is very exciting for me because I am fascinated by James Bond as a concept. I've just never bothered to watch the movie. So Rick, you're a James Bond fan, right? So what did you think
I
of this?
never
How did it
said
look?
that. I just said I've seen I've seen the
Oh.
movies.
All right. So what did you
Um,
think? Did you like it? I thought it was
Yeah,
awesome
no,
looking for
yeah,
sure.
I did not know what to expect going into this. I mean, I love the Hitman games. But I was like, man, I just don't know if 007 is something for IO. And now, to be fair, this does not look like a Hitman game, which is what I was
No.
concerned about. It's like, man, are you gonna be trying to like sneak around as Bond? That'll be kind of boring. But that's not what it is. This reminded me, and I mentioned this to Alex, and he said he agreed. This looks like Everything or Nothing, which was a PS2 Bond game. And sorry, people aren't gonna like to hear this. It was the best Bond game ever made. It was better than GoldenEye. You could take GoldenEye, you can shove it up your ass. That was a better game. It had a very bad final level, but other than that, it was amazing. And that is a very good thing to say. It reminds me of Everything or Nothing because, as I just
Cool.
emphasized, I love that game.
Yeah.
This looks awesome. No,
It
this
does.
looks awesome.
Yeah, it looks really cool as someone who's no particular affinity for James Bond and someone honestly I've never played any of the like recent Hitman games. I played some of the older ones, but I didn't play any of
Dude,
the new trilogy.
the new trilogy is maybe actually the best of all of them.
Yeah, that's what I've always heard. It's
Yeah.
just never been something that I've had the time for because it's just
It does take a lot of time because
yeah.
it is specifically built around replaying the levels over and over and over again.
Yeah,
So
and I'm not a
yeah.
I mean you think you know by now I'm not really a big replaying games kind of guy. The audience certainly would know that I don't usually replay games. So for
Well,
me,
it's not a replaying to replay. They are intentionally built so that you like the first level, for example, the Paris fashion show. It is built to the idea of you should replay the level multiple times. Number one,
yeah.
to actually unlock things, but number two, that's actually how you get the whole story. Because when you follow the certain path, you can't get the other paths that actually have the So you do them all to actually
Yeah,
build the whole story of what's going on.
that just sounds like too much for me. But I understand. Like that's a cool concept, but I don't like half like that. I love the Fire Emblem Three Houses game, but one of the downsides of that game is that you're kind of expected to play all the stories so that you can see all the different perspectives of the different three houses. I don't really want to have to go and see those to get the full context of a story because I really don't want to play the game over and over again. That's just me.
That's also a much longer game too.
That's true.
So,
That's true.
like once you learn what you're doing in these levels, you can get through them pretty fast.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
nevertheless,
Yeah. Next up, Ghost of Yotei. I have it as a thing we're going to talk about here, but honestly, I'm going to change that because there's nothing to say. They didn't.
yeah.
They showed nothing. It was Atsu, and that's
It was
it.
an advertisement for another deep dive. That's
Yeah,
all.
State of Play coming in July, which is funny because I had a conversation with a coworker talking about potential State of Play things, and I said I don't think we'll see Yotei, but we may see them say something because they're going to have a State of Play deep dive soon, and I was right. So, yeah. That's all for Yotei. I'm excited. I really like Tsushima. So I don't even know if I'll check out the gameplay deep dive because I'm already sold. I think I already have the collector's edition ordered, actually. So, and then finally, the big kahuna for a lot of people, Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls. I don't actually care because again, I don't like fighting games. Rick, I don't think you like fighting games that much either, so you probably don't care too much. But maybe
I won't say that. I won't say there's none that I like. I do like. What the hell's it called? That's how much I like. I don't remember the name. Grand Blue Fantasy versus Rising.
Well, that's this team, right? Isn't
It is. It is. Yes.
it's Arc? So
it is Arcs. And I did say I was like, look, I don't care about this game. I have zero doubt this game is going to be awesome.
oh yeah, it's gonna be excellent to play. I probably won't play it.
Arc Systems Works are, in my opinion, the best fighting game developer in the world. I know some
Probably.
people like to will say Capcom, and Capcom obviously is a pretty fair thing, and even some people will say the Tekken team. I forget what studio that is, but in my opinion, Arcs are the best. However, I cannot emphasize enough how much the Marvel angle just kills any interest for me.
Yeah, Bandai.
Did-
Bandai is behind Tekken.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, yeah. Disney has just beaten any interest out of Marvel that I ever had. It is so oversaturated at this point that it's to the point now I only go after characters that I specifically like. So I go after
Hmm.
Spider-Man stuff. And actually, I don't like Spider-Man's design in this. I like some of the
There you
characters'
go.
designs. I don't like his design. I will say, I said that even though I don't like the character that much, I thought Star-Lord actually looks awesome in this. Like he has that
Hmm.
big fluffy like overcoat.
Mhm.
I thought it looked super cool.
Yeah.
I did like Iron Man. He looked very much like oh, what the hell's the name of that? Is it like Taru Man or whatever that Japanese thing?
I have
But
no
so-
idea.
Yeah, it's it. I don't even know if it ever came west, but yeah, zero doubt this game will be fantastic. I'm not disputing that at all.
Yeah.
It just is not for me.
Yeah, I'm pretty much right there with you. I like Marvel stuff. I'm seeing Thunderbolts on Saturday. Jing and I are gonna go see Thunderbolts, so that'll be fun. I don't really fighting games to me just lose something. I just like even Dragon Ball, which I love Dragon Ball. I never played fighters because I didn't want to play a fighting game like that. I like the Dragon Ball games that are 3D and you fly around. Like I'm looking forward to playing Kakarot at some point when they stop releasing DLC for it. But I remember playing those games. Those are really the only fighting kinds of games that I ever enjoyed were the Dragon Ball ones. And that's just because I really loved the IP. And I like Marvel IP a bit because of the movies, but I don't have the affinity for the comics. So, but that's it. That's the state of play of regular announcements of games and things. We'll move into the next topic really quickly here, which on the same thing of state of play, which is just the few announcements they made for their classics and extras catalog. I'm not going to have anything to say on any of these. I'm just going to read them. Rick, you can jump in after I'm done and say whatever you want because Sony has announced that Deus Ex is coming to the classics catalog, Twisted Metal 3 and 4 to the classics catalog, Resident Evil 2 and 3 to the classics catalog, Myst to the classics catalog, and Riven to the classics catalog. And then finally, FBC Firebreak, the new Remedy game, is coming to Extra, which we already knew about, but they talked about it, so it's in the list. The only thing I'm even remotely curious about is Firebreak because I love Control. I really like Control. I didn't play Alan Wake. I don't have any knowledge of Alan Wake, but I like Control enough. And I have Extra. I have Premium. I have the tiers to play it, so I'll probably give it a shot at least. Rick?
Yeah, not much to say there. I can't watch Firebreak and not just wish that it was as it is. It could be a first-person shooter. That's fine. Be a single-player story-driven game because.
Are you gonna play it with me? Are you gonna jump in at least? Do you have Extra? I don't know where your status
I
is.
do. I do not have extra. I have
Okay.
when Sony price hiked. I out of spite. I bumped it back down to essential.
See, I went the other way and bumped it up and paid for 10 years.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. No, I refused to give them extra money when they got greedy about
well,
that.
that's why I didn't. I wanted to stop from giving them extra money and then,
Mhm.
give it all at once. Save it long run.
At the time, I had premium, and I'm like, you really fucked me over by charging me for premium because there ain't jack shit in this.
Yeah.
But like extras a valuable thing. I'm not arguing.
Oh yeah,
that,
absolutely.
Premium is bullshit. Everybody that had premium for a year, they should have felt obligated to give you 5 years worth of extra.
Anyone who says that extra is not as good a deal as Game Pass is lying because
it doesn't have as much as Game Pass, but it actually has arguably a higher quality in it.
Exactly, and it also I think it does have as much as basic Game Pass standard.
Oh, it definitely has more, but it also costs way more than that too. So,
isn't standard like $12 a month or something? It's not cheap for Game Pass standard.
If you're, don't forget they changed all the naming on the Xbox side.
Yeah, Game Pass standard cost.
If you're talking about standard, I think
standard is $15 a month right now, according to the AI overview.
Yeah, I mean, I would say Game Pass definitely has a larger selection, but there's definitely, I mean, there's actually a lot of really good shit in Game Pass, but there's also a fair bit of junk in there too.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, Ultimate is a great deal right now because of all the great Xbox games that have come out lately, and then Game Pass PC is the best deal. However, I will say, even though I am a premium subscriber, I am firmly anti Game Pass and subscription services. I'm just a sucker. I don't want people to subscribe because I want people to buy your games. I still buy my games even though they're available in the service sometimes because that's just how I am. I don't know.
I do.
Yeah.
I have Game Pass, but it doesn't prevent me from buying something that I want because I not making. I mean, spend your money how you will. I don't care, but just playing everything and not paying for it does nothing. You don't get to bitch when your game doesn't come to Xbox next time. That's how I've always said it. If your big thing is I won't play Facade on Game Pass, then don't bitch when it doesn't come where you want it.
That's exactly right. That is exactly right. You're not gonna get all the good things on Game Pass, but
yep.
All right, let's move into the rest of our headlines. We'll do these pretty quickly. I don't think we have too much to say on any of them. I just want to read through them here for the record. Nintendo releases the Switch 2. Joe has the Switch 2 stolen as soon as Alex enters the States. Very curious. Paul waits for Joe's second Switch 2 to arrive to be shipped to him. The real part of this news is actually the Switch 2 seemingly improves games without patches based on sheer power alone, per Gene Park of the Washington Post on Twitter/X. Games without frame caps are boosted, like Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, and Bayonetta 3 hits its 60 FPS cap without issue now. Yeah, so the quick story of my Switch 2 being stolen is I woke up this morning, 7 a.m., with my girlfriend's alarm because she gets up for work before I do. Checked my phone, saw that I had an email from Walmart, and then I had another email from Walmart, and one said it was about to be delivered, and the next one said it was delivered and sent me a picture. And I currently reside temporarily in an apartment building, and rather than wait until I got there or wait until the normal hour of the day, they just left the Switch 2 in a Walmart bag sitting in front of the building, open for anyone to steal. 7 a.m., I run down there. By the time I got down there, it was already gone. So I had a Switch 2 stolen today. That was not fun. Stop stealing things, thieves. That's not nice. Don't be mean.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I ended up having to go, and as I said, I have the Switch 2 over there. I did get one. I ended up calling the local Walmart after I already filed a complaint with the Walmart online, and I went and I got the Switch 2 in the Walmart this morning, all before work because this all happened very early. And
Yeah,
I, you
my
know,
delivery was actually made at like 6:45. I was
yeah,
actually driving to work when it got there.
6:26.
Okay,
6:26.
yours is actually earlier than mine then. Mine was
Yep.
like 6:48, I think.
Yeah. So that was not cool. Walmart, you gotta choose better drivers
I will
than
say
that.
though, I will say, I'm not disputing that's nonsense what happened with yours. Credit to Walmart for the very early delivery though. That's actually
Yeah.
pretty freaking awesome.
It
Unlike GameStop who ship it FedEx and then you're lucky if you get it 3 days late, right?
Yeah, I just think that, if you're gonna deliver it that early, maybe ask what time. If you have that kind of,
I do agree with that. I do agree with
give
what
me
you're saying.
and we both had the Walmart delivery. They did not say the day before what time to expect it. All it said for me was by 10 p.m.
That's what mine said as well. Yeah.
So
This morning when I checked it, it gave me the time and said like
when I checked this morning, I had gotten the email at 6:19 that it was on its way. 6:19. That was less than 10 minutes after it was. No, I was notified.
It's
It was
very
there.
interesting. Obviously being as it happened with you and me, it's interesting that Walmart shipped them out of their stores as opposed to from a
I think they had a
distribution
lot of
center.
them because
They
I went
must
to the
have.
Walmart and three people, me and two other people, bought a Switch 2 this morning. Just in
Mhm.
Mario Kart bundle, just bought it
Mhm.
right from the store.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, and then the Paul comment here was originally because Paul was supposed to be here, but he's under the weather. Paul was unable to get the pre-order. I was able to get 2 pre-orders, so I have a Switch 2 on the way that I will be shipping to him, as just to help him out. So he's waiting for it. But I think that's all to say. I'm glad that the Switch 2's power is helping boost games without a patch. I'm hoping
Mhm.
that means that something like Xenoblade will run better. Hoping it means that maybe
Three,
the
three, three actually did get a patch. I don't know if you
yeah, I
saw
know,
that.
yeah. I'm hoping
You're
that
talking about X, but three
yeah,
got a patch.
and definitive edition maybe if they
I wouldn't hold my breath for that one.
yeah. But
But
I would like that. I would like to see if Fire Emblem Three Hopes gets it because I have that game and I have not played it yet. So I'm hoping that
that got a patch, I think.
Three Hopes, Fire Emblem Three Hopes did the
Maybe three
Muso.
houses.
No, the Muso.
Oh, never mind. I don't know about that. Yeah, I don't know about that. I think it was
Yeah.
three houses.
No, Three Hopes. Next up, The Witcher 4 has a tech demo with Unreal 5 at the State of Unreal in Orlando, Florida, showing off all the new features of the latest version of Unreal Engine 5.6, I believe is what it's called, and features due out in later versions as a little sample. CDPR has confirmed it's just a tech demo built for the event, not the actual game running, but it does run on a base PS5. Rick, do you have anything to say about that? I watched that demo. It's gorgeous.
I did too, and I have a lot to say about this actually.
Go for it.
Stop fucking watching these. I watched it, some including me, or at least stop watching it unless you watch it going, there's not a goddamn thing on this screen that anything's gonna look like. And I don't mean Witcher 4, because it's not. I mean every fucking game. You remember the Unreal Engine 5 demo? What looks like that? The original one. Nothing looks like that. Because
Rick, I remember
are bullshit. Every one of them are bullshit. They are showing you what the engine can do in a very perfect environment where there is nothing to process outside of exactly what it is trying to resolve the image in front of itself, right? So and yes, now credit to CD Projekt Red for saying like, hey, this isn't the game. Like we weren't trying to say that. We were just trying to, we're trying to show what our art's going to look like and stuff like that. But with a quick glance through Twitter shows that even still like IGNs and stuff like that, they still are talking about this like this is a Witcher 4 glimpse.
Yeah.
It is not. It is not. Outside of maybe what Ciri looks like and the fact that, I imagine they'll probably use the same cities and stuff like that, there is nothing that you saw that you're going to see in the game. That is not what the game is going to look like. When I saw it, I'm like, okay, there's no question that's impressive that can be run on a PS5, a base PS5. I
Yeah.
was like, if you think that's what that game's going to look like on a base PS5, I got a fucking bridge to sell you.
Yeah. Rick, I remember the Unreal. It might have been 3 or 4 demo, the one that was like the fire explosion with the ice and everything. Do you remember that fire and ice lava demo from Unreal?
I don't remember that one.
Yeah. Fire Unreal demo. 2000. It was like 2010 or something like that.
That would have been 3 at that point. Well,
Yeah,
maybe like 3.5, but
yeah, I don't remember. It was like a lava demo. From like a long time ago. Yeah, I think it was a 2010 Unreal 3 trailer is what it was. Is what I think it was. It was a crazy one where like there was lava and steam and stuff. Yeah, it was insane. I don't remember the exact name of it, but I remember it was a really crazy demo, and I still think back that nothing looks like that even now.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Like,
yeah.
if anything will end up looking even remotely like that, and it's not going to, but the only one that will come even remotely close is I could see. I don't think Gears E-Day will, but if Gears 6 is not far away, more than a handful of years, I could see that because they are, even though they're technically not Epic, they're all from Epic, so they are all masters of using the engine.
Yeah, for sure.
That is like, because if you look still, Gears 4, for example, and 5, I believe, both run on Unreal 4. They're the only things that have ever been released that even remotely look like when they show their tech demos.
Yep.
Nothing else, years later, even comes close to what they showed. There's a reason for that. These tech demos are bullshit. They're not meant to sell you and me on a game. They are meant to sell a developer
investors
on using that engine.
And get investors excited for the tech.
Yes. And we are 5 years now into this generation, 5.5, give or take. If you haven't learned yet that Unreal Engine 5 cannot run very well on this generation, like, Pro is honestly the base version that can actually run the engine acceptably. I don't know what to tell you. And now they have the newer version. The newer version always looks better and does things better, but it also requires more horsepower.
Yeah, like, they just have to fix the broken parts. I feel like they focus too much on making it look better than fixing the broken things like stutters.
It's a powerful engine that the hardware, even high-end PCs struggle with that engine because that engine is not particularly well made right now. Like it does a lot of impressive stuff. It has all that Lumen technology and all that shit built into it. So, you know, you don't have to have your video card doing all the lifting of ray tracing, but it's like when a friggin' 3080, which is what I have, right, which is double the power of even a PS5 Pro GPU, right? When even it struggles to do shit in Unreal Engine, that should tell you that the fucking consoles can't do it. You know what I mean?
You're right. You're absolutely right. I honestly, like, CryEngine seems to be better optimized on PC than Unreal is right now. CryEngine is what Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 uses.
I will not give CryEngine the credit for that. I will give Warhorse the credit for that.
Yeah, that's
because
fair.
The reality is, you find anything else that runs on CryEngine that doesn't run like total dog shit outside of Crysis.
Yeah, right. I mean, Kingdom Come Deliverance 1 was horrible originally.
Oh, it was terrible. Yeah,
it's awful. All right, next up, IO Interactive has announced its first ever event, the IOI Showcase, for June 6th, the day you're watching this, where it will show off its newest developed game, 007 First Light, which received its first trailer at Wednesday's State of Play, as mentioned earlier, and Mind's Eye, IO's first ever published game from Leslie Benzies of Rockstar fame, Build a Rocket Boy, due out June 10th, and more, apparently. I don't have anything to say. More showcases, always cool. What was that?
I didn't know IO was publishing Mind's Eye, actually.
Yep, they are. See, you learn something new every day.
It might be the last game they published that they don't develop, but we'll see.
Yes, they are publishing. They did start a publisher one, as one of their new things. Yeah. I don't have anything else to say on this simply because we've pretty much covered all this. I look forward to Mind's Eye, even though it might be bad. I will be reviewing it for Season Gaming, so that'll be fun. That's it. Anything from you?
I wish it wasn't going to be bad, but I'm afraid it is going to be, so.
Yeah. Stig Asmussen, known for his work on the God of War series, director of God of War 3, and most recently as director of the Star Wars Jedi franchise, has announced a partnership for his studio, Giant Skull, with Wizards of the Coast for a D&D action-adventure game. Cool. Stig makes good games. I really enjoy the action side of God of War 3. That was really, really impressive. I've never played anything else that he's done though, so
I thought God of War 3 was actually the worst of the original trilogy
I
myself.
mean the action, like the cinematic action of it looks
Yeah,
really
yeah, no,
cool.
I mean, it obviously looked the best, and I would say I'd agree between it and two felt the best of the original ones. I don't think they're even close to the two newer ones, but
No, it's different, totally different.
very
Yeah.
different. Yes, very different. I understand that. Um, that said, I have no idea how much Sting himself had to do with it, but
I mean, he was director of 3. Like he was
yeah,
director of 3,
I know.
so
But I also argue that Cory Barlog is the one that put things on a. Jaffe
hmm,
started it, and I mean, he gets credit for creating it, but I would say it didn't quite reach the
yeah.
heights that it could have. I thought Barlog was the one that took it to the heights, and then I thought Asmussen actually kind of dropped it a little bit. But
Yeah.
he did do a good job with the Jedi games, particularly
Yeah, no,
Survivor.
people
Actually,
like
Survivor was
those.
very good. So
Yeah. All right. That's all for that one. And then we got two more sad ones here. We'll make these quick, unfortunately. But People Can Fly has announced the cancellation of two projects and laid off over 30 people, the developer said in a statement. The two projects are Project Bifrost, which was to be the studio's first self-published game, and Project Gemini, which was to be published by Square Enix. The announcement said that Gemini's cancellation is the result of a lack of communication of Square's intent to continue or terminate development, and the lack of funds has in part caused Bifrost's cancellation too. Project Gemini is widely believed to be the codename for 2021's Outriders sequel. Yeah, this was really sad. I don't have any affinity for People Can Fly, but I don't like people losing jobs or layoffs or canceled projects. So I am curious about why Square was being so wishy-washy, because it seemed from what I was reading, Rick, it sounded like Square just would not commit to setting new milestones, and without milestones in a contractual relationship, for people who don't know, you don't get paid. So
yeah,
if People Can Fly have met all of their milestones and there's no new milestones, then they're not going to work on the game because there's
sure.
nothing else to work towards to get money, and that seems to be where it stopped. So
Yeah, I had not read too much on this. This just seems like an. I mean,
yeah,
I love Square.
yeah,
The
me too.
industry is
Yeah,
the industry would be a far worse place without Square in it. But the reality is, it does what they don't know quite what they're doing right
sometimes.
now. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
and then
this seems to be an example of their case of like them really not knowing if they want to
yeah,
continue to be a third party publisher or no, I'm sorry, not a third party publisher. If they want to publish
yeah,
stuff
outside
that they
games.
themselves don't own or
Yeah,
not.
yeah. Well, sad stuff. Hopefully Bifrost at least gets to resume at some point, because I don't think it's fully canceled. I think it's like suspended, but it's not in active development because they couldn't afford it. So maybe they'll pick it up at some point if they get a new contract. I
Mm.
think they're still working with Microsoft on Gears as well. Gears
I'm
E-Day,
surprised they never did another
Bulletstorm.
yeah, thank you. I started with that because Bulletstorm was actually very good.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
own
remember.
Bullets. I've never played anything they've made, but I have
Oh,
Bulletstorm at
really?
least. Yeah,
Because they also made Gears of War Judgment, which I'm sure they would not
yeah,
put real proudly on
yeah.
their wall. But
And
yeah,
then
but Bulletstorm was very good.
And then finally, another sad one. Playtonic, the studio behind the ukulele IP, has confirmed layoffs after several developers were spotted posting for new jobs on LinkedIn. The statement by the studio didn't say much in the way of the reason for the layoffs beyond changing landscapes of game development and how financing games works. Just another sad one.
Yep,
Nothing to say. But
yep. I don't have too much there.
yeah, that'll bring us to the end of this week's episode now, just for the game releases. Rick, do you want to do the reading this time since I did the rest of the hosting? And you don't have
But
anywhere near as long a list as there was last week.
I, I'm kind of getting stuffed up here, so if you
Okay, I'll
wouldn't
take
mind
care of
doing
it for you. I just want to make
yeah,
the offer at least for you.
yeah.
All right, here are the game releases for the week of June 8th through the 14th. Starting with Alien Hominid Invasion, coming to PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4 on June 10th. Dune Awakening finally comes out on PC on June 10th. I hope that game is finished because it seemed like it wasn't finished from what I heard, but
Mm.
good. Mind's Eye comes to PS5, Xbox Series X, and PC on
I
June
hope
10th.
that game's finished because it seems like it's not finished from what we
Yeah.
heard.
Warhammer 40K Space Marine Mastercrafted Edition comes to Xbox Series X and PC on June 10th. That's the re-release of the original Space Marine. Stellar Blade finally hits PC on June 11th. Forgotlings comes to PS5, Xbox Series X and S, PS4, Xbox One, and PC on June 12th. Wizard of Legend 2 comes to PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC on June 12th. Five Nights at Freddy's Secret of the Mimic comes to PlayStation 5 on June 13th. And The Alters comes to PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC on June 13th. I know a lot of people are excited for The Alters. I
I am
don't,
not one of them.
yeah,
But
I don't, yeah. But
yeah, I mean, out of that, I'll probably check out the Warhammer re-release because those two games
cool.
are pretty good. And
Yeah.
then I don't care about the PC release of Stellar Blade, but I do care about the additional content being released on the PlayStation
You're
version of
you're
it.
just gonna get the PC release for the mods, aren't you, Rick? You want the mods, the Stellar
Yeah,
Blade
yeah,
mods.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
that
they're already well in development.
I'm sure. All right, well, that'll do it for us this week for the X Button podcast. Rick, where can the people find you?
Butch4969 in all the socials. YouTube.com/spreading the nerd on Fridays, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Clint. And I just want to also plug that it was yesterday. We did our first developer interview. We had M. Hart, who is the co-writer and voice actress of the main character of the upcoming PC indie survival horror game. I think it's qualified as a survival horror game, Heartworm. It was a very good interview, and we were quite appreciative of her to show up and give us the time. And I encourage everyone to check it out. It was a good time.
Very nice. Congratulations. That's really exciting. I'm trying to get some interviews and stuff for us over here, but maybe someday we'll get it. We're still very small.
I don't want to take too much credit. Clint did all the legwork, so he gets all the credit on that one. But
Yeah. That's great. Well, everyone, you can find me, as you all know, on Twitter/X at Joseph_Law_Rusa. You can find my writing at Season Gaming as Don Lionheart over there. I will have a Mind's Eye review at some point in the near future. I don't know how long that game is going to take. I don't know anything about it. I don't think we're getting a code for it, but I will have a review for it sometime this month. I will promise you that. And you'll finally have something new to read from me since Avowed back in February. And that's it. Rick, thank you so much for jumping in at the last second here to cover for Sick Paul. We got Sick Rick covering for Sick Paul, and we got Slackin' Alex.
we got the Black Plague making its way around the X button through here. So
Yeah, and we're nowhere near each
who's
other
gonna
too.
be next? Yeah, who's gonna be next?
Oh, please not me. Honestly, Alex is far more likely to get like a con crud, being at SGF than anything else. So,
Yeah, I'm gonna guess it will be him, but we'll see.
yeah. All right. Thank you everyone for watching and listening. We hope you enjoyed this episode of the X Button. And remember, press X
to play.
See you later, everybody.